Hi everyone, I finished another section of this book, the 21 Most Powerful Minutes of a Leader's Day. And today the chapter was on Joseph and the law of process. So the readings were basically about how Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery with the Ishmaelites. They sell him because they're jealous of him. They're jealous of the visions he has and his visions that he's going to be a great leader and he's going to be the one in charge. And he's a dreamer, so they hate that about him. And then the reading takes us to how he gets put into prison. And even in the prison, God's favor is with him and what he does is successful. Even the prison guards like him. And then when he is released, how he brings in the agrarian policy where there's a great famine that hits Egypt, and part of what is grown has to be given to Pharaoh, and how people are reduced to servitude. Similar to what is happening today, not only in Zimbabwe, but in Canada as well. We have to pay a certain amount of taxes, and those of us who are earning the least, we are the ones who are the serfs. I mean, they brought in this great reset, and we are the serfs. In those days, the only people that got to keep all of their land was the priests. The rest of the population had to give a portion of the land back to Pharaoh. So the Pharaoh, or the people who ruled Egypt, hated the shepherd kings, because the shepherd kings are like us. They are people who are nice, who are kind, who are gentle. The way the pharaohs ruled was through slavery, and they wanted you to work faster, work harder, and if they could draw blood from a stone, they would draw blood from that stone. So we see that happening in our world today. I watched a documentary on Nigeria about how these girls go to university in Nigeria, and this black movement that started there, how evil it is, because they take them through a process of where they train them to kill, they train them to hate. And the professors and the leaders that are in these top positions in Nigeria, they abuse the girls. They take them to rooms that are in the university nightclubs, and they basically tell them that, oh, if you want to pass, you must accept me as a sugar daddy. And it's really awful. So they had filmed these girls on camera, and that's how they do this. So the people at the top support this, and it carries on and on and on. So it's interesting to see how these Bible stories get played out in our own lives as women and men. And how there was one brother that did not want Joseph to die. So when he told them, throw him into that cave or into that place where they put him, he was going to go back and rescue him and take him to his father. But the other brothers left him there, and before he could get to him, the Ishmaelites took him and they sold him into slavery. And sometimes that's what happens. People will say, oh, we'll just do this to teach her a lesson, or we'll just do this to teach him a lesson, and then it goes out of hand and lives are lost and careers are lost and people can't come back up again except for God's favor. So there's 3 points that John Maxwell mentions in here. The first one is taking time to mature. Second is trials to strengthen. And third is God to bless. So I always laugh when people say, oh, you need time to mature. What does that mean? Because there are many young people who have had a lot of responsibility forced on them from a young age. We had to mature very quickly. We had to grow up very quickly if we grew up in the war. And there are people who, they dead by the time they are 30 or 35 because of the amount of pressure that's put onto them. So, this thing about taking time to mature, I think it means taking time to mature in your faith and in trusting God and building your faith. Not taking time to mature by God's standards as the world sees it, but as God sees your maturity. Mandela Day is something that we can reflect on. So he was a lawyer. He knew all the laws of the land, yet he got put into prison. But even in the prison, the security guards landed up liking him and giving him favors and helping him. And when he came out of that prison, God blessed him. Robert Mugabe, he also went to prison. The people landed up liking him. They were cruel to them. They didn't let them go for their sons' funerals. But when they came out, everybody, they were the darlings of the world because of what they endured in those prisons. And then God blesses our work. But sometimes it takes you a whole lifetime. There are people who have died young, but in that short time that they lived a full life. They got married, they had children, they traveled the world, they, like Elvis, had concerts. I mean, they really lived their lives to the full. My dad is an example of that. He died young, but he lived a full life. So that's the way that I look at it. And for myself, I think as well, like you get to a point where you're like, you know what, not that I want to die, I don't have a death wish, but it's like I've reached a point where I know that God is in control. I still have emotions like every other human being. I feel frightened, I feel love, I feel scared, I feel helpless sometimes. But through all of that, God works through me to bring about different things, to bring about changes. I help others where I can. Am I happy that I do not have any money in my bank account and that I'm always in low-paid jobs? Of course I'm not. That wasn't what I studied for. And people say, oh, you think you're better than others because you went to university. No, I don't. I also had pressure on me at university. I also lived far away from family. I had nobody around me, no immediate family near me when I went to South Africa. But I got on with it. Yes, I missed my family, I missed my friends, but I got on with it and I made the most of it and I made new friends. And from there, I came here to Canada after being made a refugee in England. Do I regret it? Some days I do. I'm like, what is the point of all this? If your whole life is on contract. You're never made permanent, you're never given benefits, you don't have a pension. I mean, it's sad. But I just carry on because there's nothing else I can do. Some people take their lives. People like me who have gone under this much pressure, who have survived war, who don't have family around them, some people take their lives. Other people say, you know what, I'm not living here, this is too much. I'd rather go back to Zimbabwe or I'd rather go back to Egypt. At least I have my own community there. And people that understand me, people that can relate to my struggle and what I'm going through. And I can talk and be free with them. So people are different, but that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Are we ready to put our dream to the test? Because people always come against us. Whether we are on the board with them or whether we are the cleaner taking out their garbage. Not everybody appreciates us. But even in that, God's favor can be on our lives. God can cause people to like us who, even if they hate us, they land up liking us. Even when I went to the police station, when we came out of there, my uncle's wife, she said, oh, I think the police like you. I said, no, they don't. She's like, oh, yeah, I think they like you. I said, well, I don't know. I don't see it that way. But that's how it goes in the Christian faith. God changes things. He turns things upside down. It's the same with this Great Reset. Now, after doing all the damage, that Klaus Schwab has resigned. Oh, you will rent and be happy. Most people were saying, no, we will not rent and be happy. But he did all the damage, now he's gone. Now we all serfs. Anyway, it's very frustrating, but hopefully good will come out of this.